She poured coffee without ever grinning, even when patrons told jokes or attempted to brighten her evening. But one night, a weary single father posed a simple query: "Why don't you ever grin?" Her response didn't just touch him, it transformed both, their lives forever. Backhand index, pointing right. If this tale stirs your heart, please hit like on this video and subscribe to Kindness Tales Stories for more heartfelt journeys. Your support fuels our mission to share stories that truly matter. It was a Thursday evening in downtown Austin, Texas. The diner's red neon sign hummed softly against the gentle rain that dampened the worn pavement outside. Inside, the cozy clatter of plates and the aroma of toasted sandwiches and strong coffee brought solace to the few tired souls seated in booths. One of them was Nathan Cole, a 38-year-old single dad with dark circles under his eyes and plaster dust on his checkered shirt. His 6-year-old daughter, Emma, nestled beside him, her head resting on his arm, dozing after a long day trailing him at construction sites. Their server, a 24-year-old waitress named Sophie, had been tending table after table in a faded green apron, her hair loosely tied, her sneakers threadbare. She moved like someone drifting through a haze, efficient yet distant, never grinning, never meeting anyone's gaze, just present, like part of the diner's furniture. Nathan had noticed her for weeks. Every Thursday, he and Emma came for their daddy-daughter sandwich night. Every Thursday, Sophie delivered their order, jotted their bill quietly, and drifted away like a shadow with no tale to tell. But tonight felt heavier. Perhaps it was the way she gripped the coffee pot or the faint quiver in her fingers. Perhaps it was the way she lingered, just a moment too long when Nathan said, "Thank you." Something inside him urged, "Ask." When Emma finally drifted off, on he booth seat, Nathan gently adjusted her coat and looked up as Sophie approached to refill his mug. "Hey," he said softly, his voice careful not to wake Emma. "Can I ask you something?" Sophie blinked, her hand paused mid-pour. Sure." "Why don't you ever grin?" Nathan asked, his eyes sincere. "No judgment. You've been serving me and my little girl for months, and I don't think I've seen you smile once." Sophie's frame stiffened. She looked down, swallowed hard. "I'm sorry," she murmured. "I'll try to do better." No, Nathan shook his head quickly. "That's not what I meant. I'm just wondering if you're okay. You always seem so sad, and you shouldn't have to bear that alone." Sophie stepped back, blinking rapidly, like she was holding back a flood. Her hands trembled now. The coffee remained unpoured. I'll be right back." She turned and nearly ran to the kitchen. Nathan felt a pang twist in his chest. He hadn't meant to upset her, only to connect. He sighed, sipping his lukewarm coffee, wondering if he should have stayed silent. 10 minutes passed, then 15. When Sophie returned, her eyes were red and swollen. She placed a slip of paper gently beside his coffee cup and whispered, "I'm sorry, I can't talk about it out loud, but if you really want to know, this is the truth." She walked away before he could respond. Nathan unfolded the note slowly. Her handwriting was rushed, uneven, but what he read made his throat tighten. "Dear stranger, I haven't grinned in over a year, not because I don't wish to, but because it feels wrong. Last October, I lost my baby boy. He was 6 months old. His name was Owen. He had my nose and his father's eyes. His father, Liam, left me when I got pregnant. I worked 2 jobs, gave up college, lived in a shelter until I could afford a small apartment and a second-hand crib. Owen had the brightest giggle. He'd kick his teeth and inny feet every time I sang off-key. One night I came home from my shift here and found him not breathing in his sleep. They called it SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. No one knows why it happens. He was just gone. My world crumbled that night. I haven't grinned since because every time I try I feel like I'm betraying him, like I'm moving on, like I'm leaving him behind. But thank you for asking, for seeing me. Most people don't." Nathan stared at the letter, his hand shaking as he folded it carefully. He glanced at Sophie, who was wiping a counter, her back to him, and suddenly her silence carried a weight that made sense. The brokenness, the hidden wound. He stood, gently lifted Emma into his arms, and walked to the counter. "Sophie," he said softly. She turned, startled. "Can I hug you?" he asked. "Not to fix anything, just so you know you're not alone." Her eyes welled up again, and she nodded. He set Emma down gently and wrapped his arms around Sophie. It wasn't romantic, nor particularly warm, but it was human. A moment that reminded them both that grief needn't be silent. "Thank you," she whispered, finally resting her head on his shoulder. 3 weeks passed since the note. Sophie hadn't expected to see Nathan again. Most customers wouldn't return after something so heavy. But Thursday night arrived, and there they were, Nathan and Emma, back at their booth, sharing a sandwich and a milkshake with 2 straws. Sophie approached cautiously, unsure how things would feel now that her heart was exposed. But as she neared the table, Emma beamed up at her. "Hi, Miss Sophie," the little girl chirped. "Guess what? Daddy says we can leave you a big tip today." Sophie laughed softly, caught off guard by how naturally that small chuckle came. Nathan looked up, eyes warm. "You look different," he said. Sophie tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "Do I?" He nodded. "You laughed. That's a start." Sophie smiled, just a small one, and this time it didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like a